Look at this. Durango got hit with quite a bit of snow in the New Year's Day storm. This is what the streets looked like downtown early yesterday morning. And the snow also piled up on the side of the road on US 550 into Durango. That did create some maybe treacherous driving conditions for some folks who were out and about on the road. Now, here's what the current road conditions look like this morning. This is it's shown over the course of the day, a little dicey up to the north and to the west. At last update this morning, though, the Department of Transportation is reporting that things are in a fair condition on I-40 in the Gallup area, all the way to the Arizona border in between the metro there. Around Santa Fe, it looks mostly clear now, except on one stretch of New Mexico 63. New Mexico 72 is closed in both directions from mile marker 0 to 36. That road said to be completely impassable. Do stay with us as we track the cold moving through the state. We're going to have updates on the wintry mix both on air and online at KRQE.com.
Time now 6:03. Deputies are looking for a third suspect in the brutal death of an Albuquerque woman on Christmas Eve. Idali Reyes' body was found in front of a home near 5 Points. On Tuesday, police arrested Jose Luis Lopez and Juan Solis. They admitted to dragging the 26-year-old from her house into a car. Solis says he drove while Lopez stabbed Reyes to death. Police say they killed her because she accused Solis of owing her money. Solis told Bernalillo County Sheriff's deputies the third suspect was with them during the murder. That suspect's name has not been released. Caslin Welch, who helped Tracy Province and John McCluskey break out of an Arizona prison, could be sentenced soon. After breaking out, the men came to New Mexico where they kidnapped Gary and Linda Haas of Oklahoma for their truck. McCluskey shot them and burned their bodies near Santa Rosa. A pre-sentencing report for Welch says she's scheduled to be sentenced January 14th, but the Mojave Daily News says a February sentencing is possible. She faces 40 years in prison. The two others are serving life sentences.
Time now is 6:03. Inside a giant garage at Kirtland Air Force Base, airmen are being trained for all kinds of special operations. Now, for the first time, they're using virtual reality to take that training to the next level. News 13 got a rare inside look at airmen at Kirtland who were training for those special operations using green screen technology. Until now, training for this kind of scenario was primarily done in the air, which was complicated and expensive. But now they train on the grounded aircraft first.
You just can't send a student from the classroom out onto the airplane and expect them to know everything. There had to be an intermediate step that would save us money and time and then teach them what they needed to know. And that was the genesis of this facility.
Officials, get this, say it used to cost about $25,000 an hour to train airmen up in the air, but this type of training just costs a few hundred.
New this morning, at least 7 more victims of Sunday's doomed AirAsia flight were pulled from the Java Sea overnight. This just into our newsroom. That brings the total to more than 20. Searchers say they've also found pieces of that plane. Indonesia's National Search and Rescue Agency says 6 were found by a U.S. Navy ship, leaving nearly 150 still missing. Investigators say many may still be strapped in their seats. Several more ships and planes with metal detectors and sensitive listening equipment also arrived today. The first identified victim of the crash, a 49-year-old woman, was buried yesterday in keeping with Muslim tradition. Now, 3 of the bodies found overnight have already been identified and returned to their families.
We are staying on top of developing news this morning off the coast of Italy. The Italian military has been called to help rescue 2 abandoned ships carrying migrants. The latest ship is carrying about 450 people believed to be Syrian. Italy's Air Force had to fly in a Coast Guard rescue team because of rough seas. At last report, they were trying to restart the engines of the ship. Italy's Coast Guard has already rescued another migrant ship and safely steered it into port. That one was carrying 768 people.
California will start accepting driver's licenses applications from undocumented immigrants. The Department of Motor Vehicles is taking applications from people who are in the U.S. illegally to boost safety and make immigrant lives easier. Now, here in New Mexico, Governor Susana Martinez will try again to repeal a similar law. She has not been successful so far, but now that Republicans have control of the state house, it may be easier.
Well, the holidays are over, and today is the kickoff to the annual Tree Cycle program in Albuquerque. You can drop off your trees, I should say, and lights between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. at any of these 3 locations that you see on your screen. Organizers say remove all decorations and tree stands before you drop them off.
You know, here's the situation. I didn't realize you could recycle lights.
I didn't
on
either.
Your tree.
Right. I think we're talking about the old type of lights, because the LED ones, obviously,
right.
the ones that they want to get people
different.
to use. So There you go. That's part of the program.
Don't put them in the blue bins, though. Take them with your tree.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Time we're out at all on New Year's Day. You felt it. Albuquerque and Rio Rancho folks braved frigid temps to enjoy the snow while it lasted, at least. In the North Valley, Frosty made a brief appearance, but it wasn't all play. The East Mountains hit hard. Crews out salting and plowing to keep roads safe there.
The metro area not alone in receiving winter weather. Snow fell across much of the state, from Glorieta all the way up to Raton Pass. Some places in northern New Mexico are measuring snow in inches this morning. Tucumcari saw some snow. Looks like road crews were able to keep up, too, with the storm hitting the major highways quickly so that drivers could get through. Excuse me. Those storms this morning and those roads this morning are looking pretty clear across the state. At last update last night, the Department of Transportation reports there are still icy and snow-packed areas of I-40 west to the Arizona border around Santa Fe, although they have in the last couple of hours updated those so that they look a little bit like they're in better shape. There is one stretch of New Mexico 63 right around the Santa Fe area that you'll want to watch out for, and New Mexico 72 closed in both directions from mile marker 0 to 36. That road is completely impassable this morning.
Good thing is metro area is pretty much clear this morning.
Sure is.
Now you are helping us tell the weather story as the snow fell. We received many pictures from across the state.
Yeah, that snow started falling in the early morning hours of this new year, and your photos helped to capture some key moments. Aaron Drawhorn gives us a look across the state.
A final shot from 2014 in Lincoln County showing a picturesque look from Alto to the Sierra Blanca. This is the result of the end-of-year storm on Carrizo Valley Ranch outside Capitan. But once 2015 came, snow blanketed the southern part of the state. Truth or Consequences saw its share of falling flakes. And up north, the Arctic air arrived in Aztec with snow coming down around 6 a.m. It was chilly in Chama, a good amount in Grants, and here's another one from Hermosa. And from Colorado, a viewer captured snow on camera in the valley of Durango. Our own Jessica Garate sent in this video. This is what it looked like on the drive to Durango Mountain Resort on US 550. And finally, the winter whiteout in Durango as the flakes fall on the first day of 2015.
Pretty scenes there. We love getting your photos and video. Keep them coming. It's easy. Just submit them at krqe.com and click report it. Our team is tracking the weather as it changes. We'll have updates both on air and online at krqe.com.
It's now 6:33. We're following breaking news this morning. We're on the scene of a shooting in northeast Albuquerque. This video just into our newsroom showing that scene. It happened this morning on San Mateo near McLeod. Police aren't saying much at this time, but what we do know is that one person has been taken to the hospital with a gunshot wound. Police say they are looking for possible suspects in this case. The condition of the person that was shot is not known at this time. We will continue to follow this story and bring you the very latest as it becomes available to us. Governor Susana Martinez is once again in the governor's seat. She took the oath of office for a second time during an inauguration ceremony yesterday in Santa Fe.
I, Susana Martinez,
do solemnly swear
that
I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States.
and the Constitution.
Also during her speech, Martinez said while Republicans now have control of the state house for the first time in decades, both parties need to join together to transform the state. In order to do that, she believes education must be a priority. While she's open to listening to concerns about some of her proposals, she still had a stern warning to Democrats and teachers' unions.
I will meet anyone halfway if we're focused on the same goal of student achievement. But I will never compromise on lowering our standards for our children. Never.
Now, Democrat Senator Gerald Ortiz-Pino of Albuquerque said he is pleased to hear Martinez wants to work with Democrats on legislation, including a bill for third-grade reading standards that could pass if she agrees to more tutoring. Not everyone was at last night's ball to celebrate Martinez's inauguration. In fact, some showed up in hope of crashing that party.
New Mexico's dead last from education to jobs to police violence. And at the end of the day, we're just all a bunch of people deserving a little bit more than what our government has provided for us.
Protesters showed up in downtown Albuquerque around 6 last night with signs, megaphones, and drums in hand. Dozens of people with Albuquerque Justice, a watchdog group against police violence, and a pro-life group marched to the convention center. That's where the governor's inaugural ball was held. Protesters say their goal was to let the governor know they are not happy with her and her administration. They say she's failed New Mexico in issues such as poverty, homelessness, education, and acknowledging APD's well-publicized track record of police violence.
Well, I have no idea what they're protesting tonight, but it's pretty ridiculous to be out here doing that.
Now, police did show up to the demonstration to see what was going on, but overall it was a peaceful protest.
636, the Navajo Nation Council has now set a date for a special election to choose the tribe's president. This is coming months after a deadline already set by the Navajo Nation Supreme Court. The Daily Times reports a June primary and an August general election is in the works. The presidential race was thrown into turmoil before the tribe's general election last November. That's when candidate Chris DeShenny was disqualified because he could not speak fluent Navajo. Less than minimum wage, that's what Albuquerque City Councilor's $17,500 salary boils down to when you factor in about 30 to 50 hours of work per week. Now an independent commission will decide whether that should change. The chairman says city councilors in Albuquerque get paid less than in other cities.
Councilors were considerably below average. In fact, a lot of the smaller cities like Santa Fe and Las Cruces actually paid councilors more than Albuquerque.
The mayor's salary is also up for review. He currently makes $103,000. The commission wants your input in a survey. To find that survey, just head to our website, krqe.com.
One of the 3 teens accused in the brutal killings of 2 homeless men will go on trial in a few months. We checked online court records yesterday and learned Alex Rios is set to go on trial on March 16th. Back in July, Rios, Nathaniel Carrillo, and Gilbert Tafoya allegedly used cinder blocks and a metal pole to beat the men to death. The bodies of Allison Gorman and Key Thompson were found in a vacant lot near 60th and Central. The teens are facing several charges, including first-degree murder. 2015 is not off to a good start for General Motors. The automaker is recalling more than 83,000 SUVs and trucks because of faulty ignitions. They say the ignition could move out of the start position, causing vehicles to stall and stopping airbags from working. GM recalled millions of vehicles worldwide last year for ignition and key-related issues. The defects have been blamed for dozens of deaths.
Chick-fil-A is investigating a possible data breach today. The company says there was some unusual activity involving credit and debit cards at some of its restaurants. There aren't many details yet, but the chain says it is working with law enforcement and cybersecurity experts to look into the activity. The company says if there actually was a breach, customers will not be held responsible for fake charges to their account.
Kind of reminds you of the Target